Hey Mike, how are you?
Good, good. Glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. We should have few other people join, and then few may not join because some people work. I'm not saying that you don't work. They have jobs and it's a schedule issue. So let's see here. Teresa, did you receive an invitation to school yet?
You know what? Let me
Yeah, you
look.
just have to join. And Mike, I don't think you have joined either.
No, I'm just going through your email now I see it where I can join.
Okay. Yeah, just simply click on join and um, we should be able to have everybody there. So it's a small group. We're not big, which is awesome. So just want to let everybody in first. Okay, I got it, DJ. I see you log in earlier and I'm like, man, probably you're at work, so I understand. Cool. Steve. Hi, Steve. Jason and then hi, Justin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Jennifer, I can see you. Is Mikhail with you or he's just gonna watch the recording? Hey, Jason.
Hey, Mayor.
Steve, I think your mic is off, which is fine. I understand some people might be at work. All right, so we'll get going. Looks like most of our members are here. So welcome to the first session of Capital Mastery System. I'm so glad that you guys have joined. On the call today is Christine. I don't know if you can see her. She is my VA in Philippines. As you can see, it's probably middle of the night, and she's been with me for several years, and I rely on her. And she is going to be the support person on school, and everything is in school. So if you have any issues, you can email her, and she'll be the person helping you out. All right. So having said that, what's going to happen is when you do log into school, I want to let you know as early as now. It's work in progress, which means there are several folders that will show that you do not have access. Do not panic. You will have access to everything. It's just that they are not complete yet, which means I'm still uploading and we're still organizing stuff. So the last thing I want to do is to have you have access to all sorts of documents and that they're not organized. So as I'm going through each of these sessions, you will have one folder that you will have immediate access to, which will have every slide that I will go through today, including the recording and including any other additional resource material that I talk about. All right. So as we go along, it'll be added and it'll grow. And once we have those folders with all the data, we'll start unlocking them. So they're not locked for any other reason. They're just locked for organizational reason. All right. Okay. So having said that, let me share my screen. Let me make sure I can maximize it. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you can see the screen and it's fully maximized, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And if you want to move the screen, the small screen on the top, you can minimize it so you can see everything on the screen, okay? All right, and you will have this slide later on today. All right, first, I do want to go through this because I know when I spoke to some of you, you may not even know about the bonuses. And so, bonuses are these kind of books, mini courses, you may call it, or white paper, but they are part of the course and they're included. And one of them will be available to you today. And these are, once you read them, you'll realize what the value is. They are, in my opinion, they're very valuable. Anyway, you have lifetime access to everything. Live coaching calls start beginning today, 8 weeks. There are 16 sessions. So when I say 8 weeks, there are two sessions each week, right? There's one on Tuesday and one on Saturday. So if you miss any, not a big deal. You can always catch up. The Saturday session is very important because that's where we'll do question answer, deep question answers. And I really want to keep this for actually getting the information out to you. Little by little, I'm trying very, very hard to not overwhelm you because I've got a lot of information. So I want to keep it simple as we go along. Write down your questions. Saturday, we'll have plenty of time. I won't have new content, but we'll go into deep dive into everything. All right. So I already mentioned the school community. So if you haven't done that, please make sure you get my email invitation was sent to everyone. So simply click on that and we should be able to let you in. Some of you have already joined. All right. So again, what is included in the program? So there's the core program, which has these six elements, and I'm going to go through them one more time. And of course, you'll have the recording of this. So the master key is basically I would call the roadmap for everything that we're doing. It's on the upscale, higher level thing, which is the three core strategies that I will teach you. Number one is collaborating with organizations. That's where the custodian work comes in. Number two is vertical integrating PML. And again, I'll go through this in more details, but it is essentially creating your own private money lenders. And number three is working your tribe. So these are the three core strategies. We'll go very deep into it. We'll share how I do it and how you can implement it. Number two is bulletproof systems. So these are all the systems. These are the engine that drive everything. So that includes website, PML portal, CRM automation, and I call it SOP, standard operating procedures that I have. You can call it whatever you want. That includes something as important as PML onboarding. So there's a whole procedure in which from the very first point, very first touch point to the last touch point till you start funding things, how you do the process. So that's all included. Number three is marketing alchemy. And this is where I have specific marketing techniques that you won't find anywhere else, starting with the avatar creation, which I'll do today. And then avatar experience spectrum, which I did mention to some of you. And then a whole bunch of other things that I'm creating and improving as we go along. Our digital arsenal includes all the tools, including pitch deck. We keep talking about that, but I'll go into, very, very deep about not just the pitch deck, but how I create them and why a certain pitch deck is a certain way. There are a whole bunch of templates, email templates that I use for my PML, text templates, and like I said, onboarding templates. When we are filling properties, I have a specific process that I didn't know if I spoke to you about that, which really converts a lot of PML in committing to properties. So, it's another thing just having PMLs, but it's another thing when you actually have a deal for them to commit on a property. So there's a very specific process that I have, which I will also teach you, which will be amazing. All right, so those are the tools. And then mental edge is you all should have received the book except Mike, you might have you received the book yet? Positive Intelligence?
No, I have not.
Okay, you should receive in a day or two because you
Okay.
joined a little later. You'll receive it. So everybody should have received that book, and so we are using that as the basis for keeping our mental strength. Everybody needs it, and I've done some very advanced course on it, 8 week advanced course in addition to reading the book, and I've implemented it, and I'm telling you it's amazing. So this is sprinkled throughout the course. And finally, our power collective is school. And you all know what school, how great school is in our slow flip community. And so basically, I'm duplicating that, but it's very small. So we're starting with a foundational community. So it's just us, and you're going to contribute here. You're going to have training modules and pod accountability, which doesn't come right now. It'll come down the road after the 8 week session. So I'm not going to spend too much time about the pod accountability at this point. All right. Now, the bonuses, these are the five bonuses that are included. Number one is the Facebook deep avatar research. This I'm going to cover today. So I'm not going to talk about it right now because I'm going to go through that. This one, I know some of you might have seen this. When I did the summit in January, I had one of the top five places where I get my PML, and I talked about this. But this one, I actually wrote and I have specific examples that was not included in the other one that I did. So, in other words, in this one, I actually show you a posting by an investor on Bigger Pockets, what I look for on those posting, what did I reply to that posting, how did I get the conversation going with them, and then got them on to a call. So the whole process on how you do that, right? So it's really really especially written for this purpose, so you can figure out how to do that. This one is about self-directed IRA. I know you all know about it, but I wrote this specifically about my experience with my private money lenders who have self-directed IRAs. Small details that you need to know about is very, very helpful. A lot of time, if you go on our school community, you see a lot of questions from people and they have no clue on, or they get stuck, or they can't answer the question. Because remember, if you're going to onboard a PML who is has a SD IRA and they ask you a question, well, even if you don't know the answer, you should be able to guide them accordingly. So you should know enough about it so you can answer their questions. All right. So this will kind of prepare you for that. This is very interesting. I came about this and I've been thinking about to include this or not. So let me tell you, I was always curious because you might have heard if you speak to a retiree or somebody with a retirement account or somebody who is speaking to potentially, right? And they say, oh, yeah, I have a financial advisor and he doubles my money and blah, 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 right? And I was curious, so I attended some of these financial planners live conferences, right? And so I got their presentation and I started going deep research and I found out what is missing. And if you understand it, then you can actually have a very intelligent conversation with someone who's just saying that, oh, I have a financial planner. They know what they're doing. Do you see what I'm saying? So will give you that. So I actually have an actual presentation from a financial planner, and I'll tell you what the gaps are in there. Okay, so that's that. This one is about. I tell you, this is one of the strongest thing that I have available in my pitch deck that I present or when I talk to my private money lender. By the way, you will all have access to the actual pitch that I do with my private money lender. All right. So I'm not just telling you what the text are. You'll actually see the video recording. So you can see that not only the slideshow that I use, you'll have that, but you'll see how I use the slideshow to bring them from where they are to where they're saying, okay, how do I start with you? Do you see that? So that's very, very strong because I could be telling a lot of things about myself, but when you watch me do it, that actually brings it to a different level. All right. But it also opens up a lot of questions. And that's why we have the coaching program. So this is the course timeline. We have the phase one, which is 8 weeks, 2 hours weekly, runs from today to June 28th. So you are here. The next phase is when we move everything to our school community. We will continue our once a week coaching calls, and you have lifetime access to the existing material plus all the updates that we will have. All right, so just want to make sure if some of you have not done it yet, please, you should have received. If you haven't received has anybody not received the invitation to the school community? You all see it? I know some of you have already joined, so just join and we'll go over there. So your to-do list for the school community is join and then introduce yourself. I know Jason has done a great introduction, so I made a comment on that, and there's a reason why. I'm just letting you know now. There are 9 members in our community as of now, but what that means is there are a couple of members who have 2 seats, which means they're either husband and wife or partners. So you might see more people, but it's a small community. And I'm telling you honestly so that you understand. I had a lot more people who wanted to join. They were ready to pay me, but I knew they were not ready. And there are reasons for that. I won't go into that, but I'll show you a slide towards the end. Will tell you why you're here and why some other people are not here. All right. So it's a small community. That's I do want you to introduce yourself, share with everybody what your goals are, because I'm telling you, I have some very, very beyond all of this I'm going to teach you. I have some very interesting ideas that I want to, let our community experience. All right. So post whether you have a small win. Let me explain that to you. I know, Steve, I'm not going to put you on spot right now, but Steve was going to make a pitch to a private money lender. Okay. My point is this, please understand there is a whole spectrum. What happens is getting a private money lender is a process. It's not an event. You see what I'm saying? So if you had a conversation with someone and they were not negative, guess what? That's a micro win. Post it because we're all going to learn from it, right? Because everybody's going to ask you, hey, where do you find them? Or what was the conversation? The next is if that PML said, you know what, I'm interested in a follow-up conversation. That's another micro win. Post it as well. We'll all learn from it. All right. And I'll actually post something that I had a win today. And so you guys will see that later on in school. All right. So that's the school part. Now, this is important. So watch this. The reason why some of the other members are not here and you're here is because I wanted to see where you are currently in your business. All right. Now, everybody is different. I understand that. Some of you already have worked with private money lenders, some of you may not have. But I know you're serious enough to be on the call and make the investment. So, in my opinion, my commitment to you is I want to coach you and guide you from point A, which is your current skill set in raising private capital, whatever that is. All right, to bring you to so that you have skills so you can raise private capital on a consistent basis, not by accident. Anybody can do it by accident. You need to have a system so you can have a duplicatable way of doing it yourself. That's what my commitment is. All right. So your commitment is number one, learn from the live group training sessions during the 8 weeks. Ask questions during the group Q&A sessions on Saturdays. So write down your questions, whatever they are, write them down. And another thing I've learned about questions is when you write a question that first time comes to your mind, as we go through the session, you realize either it's answered or you will qualify your question. It becomes more sophisticated, it gets in more depth, which is great. So by the time it's Saturday, your question would be an awesome question to ask for everyone to know about. Uh, Now, again, your commitment should be participate actively in school, share your micro and big wins. All right. So, having said that, let's start with in my opinion, I was really not sure what to start with, but I thought this is really, really the core. I talk about it a lot of time is the avatar. Now, so I'm sure everybody knows, but I'll just for the sake of getting this going, the definition of an avatar is that it's a representation of your ideal client. All right. It's like a persona that would provide details about your ideal client that includes demographics, behaviors, preferences, goals, and challenges. Now, why do you want to create an avatar? I've spoken to some of you before. As you know, on school, a lot of people make these posting. Oh, I found an avatar. I found a private money lender. Either he was my, neighbor or he was an old friend. He saw my posting on Facebook. That's great. I can tell you guaranteed that that is not their avatar because they don't have an avatar, right? Which means that was an accident. May I say that? Yes, it was an accident, which means can they duplicate that? Most likely not. So the difference if you have an avatar is that you know exactly, you're laser focused on what you want, what you're looking for. All right. And once it happens and you do it correctly, then you can duplicate that. So that is the key. And that's what I want you to understand. Now, I don't want you to think just because you're creating an avatar, you're going to disregard everything else. Absolutely not. So, for example, if somebody approaches me from my website or from something else, and they're not my specific, and I'll actually show you my avatar, every single thing that I use to create my avatar and what my avatar is. If somebody approaches me and they're not my avatar and they're ready to sign up with me, obviously I'm not going to say no. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is I'm not wasting my time and energy on just going after every single person who's out there. I have a very specific strategy. That's what I approach. I actually, as you get good at this, you'll very quickly know who not to talk to beyond a certain point because guess what? Your biggest resource is your time. You see what I'm saying? And I can share this with you right now. So one of the ways that I do that, and I'm going to teach you that it's about how you manage your time and how you manage your life, right? I'll tell you, I get on a lot of Zoom calls. I do a lot of Zoom calls because I do a lot of activity. So one of the things I have in my system is that, and one or two of you might have actually experienced that is that if somebody is not a no-show on my call and they without any explanation and they want to set up another appointment with me, they will probably never get that appointment with me because I am very protective of my time. Do you see what I'm saying? And that actually helps when you're actually also working with private money lenders They have to respect your time, and it's called framing. That's also part of the course. I'll go into very deep dive into how you frame that whole presentation and how you frame yourself in front of a private money lender. All right, so getting back to why do you want to create your avatar? So your ideal avatar will help you deeply understand and target your audience. So that's obvious, right? Now, these are the two important reasons. You'll be able to create your more personalized and effective messaging. All right. Since your messaging is going to be personalized, it will maximize your engagement and conversion. So this is very important because you could be saying words and you could be creating messages, but if it's not resonating with your avatar, it's not going to work, right? All right, so here's my avatar process. I have shared this before, but the way I'm doing it right now, you'll be able to ask me questions and you will be able to get your answers. And I'm doing this for a purpose because you're going to create your avatar. I'm going to help you with that. All right. This was my avatar process. This was literally what happened when I joined the Slow Flip program and I had no progress signing up private money lenders because I was doing what everybody else was doing. I was shooting in the dark, hitting, hoping, I would find a private money lender by accident. And I'm glad it didn't work because if I had found a private money lender by accident, well, guess what? I would probably be doing the same thing. And it had no results because, one private money lender here and there wouldn't have worked. So here was my process. Number one, I started first by my business model, which was the slow flip model. I know in our community everybody's in the Freedom Accelerator program, so I can use this. But let's say you have a different business model. Let's say you do fix and flip. You will start with fix and flip first, right? You want to start with that. That's what I did. So I started with the business model, knowing that the business model was the slow flip model, all right? And the reason was I wanted the best possible avatar match for the model, and it'll become clear why. So one key feature, as we all know, of our slow flip model is a 5-year term, which makes it unique in the sense that most private money lenders, experience, or I call them emerging private money lenders, uh, do not want to tie in their money for a 5-year term. If some of you have already worked with some private money lenders, you already know that, right? So that's why I went back and I started with the model first. I said, well, let's start with the model. This is the model. That's what we have to live with. I can't change the model, right? Uh, so, so this means that someone, in my opinion, I found that it has to be someone with some kind of a retirement account that is not accessible or the funds are needed for 5 years or more. All right. So, okay, I've come down to this level. Next was, as we know that I figured out that if they're going to work with me, loan me money, it cannot be a regular IRA, a 401k, or a Roth IRA. You all know why, right? Because with a regular retirement accounts, you cannot invest. You can borrow from it. I think you can do that from a 401k or even from IRA, but that's not what we were talking about. And that just complicates the situation because we are talking about tax consequences, which is a big issue. So I just didn't want to deal with that issue at all, right? I said, you know what, let's just take that out. So that left what? Therefore, I decided to work with people with self-directed IRA. So my ideal avatar will have a self-directed IRA. Do you see how I started with the model and I'm now down at this step? Now, after I decided that it has to be someone, I also wanted have my ideal avatar to have some real estate experience. Okay, this is something I wanted to put in there. And it was also very important that my avatar had some real estate experience and or some private lending experience. That's, I'm telling you, one of my best private money lenders. They're not a lot, they don't have a lot of experience with this, but they've done it enough that when I started talking to them, it was a lot easier conversation, it was a lot easier conversion, it was a lot easier commitment. You see what I'm saying? So if you put this in your avatar planning, then you know what to look for. So as you're talking to them, and you'll see all these recordings, you'll see I'm asking these questions in the recordings, and then you'll know why am I asking those questions. By the way I do those, and I'll go through that in details. I qualify the private money lenders. This is the other way around. You probably know this, right? Because that's called framing, how you frame yourself. All right, so let's go back to this. So finally, after this, I decided there's another element of this, by the way, which I did in my workshop. So I don't know if you saw that, is depending on different type of private money lender that you end up getting, and let's assume it's the self-directed IRA person. Let's just call about two categories. One category is a sophisticated private money lender that has done some private money lending in past, but they have a self-directed IRA. They like your plan. So that's one category, right? That person is quite experienced. You may not require to educate them, right? They understand the lingo, they understand the process. That's easy. It's the other type that we are talking about, which is actually your ideal private money lender. This is somebody who is, I call them emerging private money lender. So they don't have a lot of experience. They might have done one or two. Those are the ones you have to educate them. Educate. If you don't educate, then there will be a gap between, uh, you know, what you need to teach them and what they need to learn. All right. So let's go on. All right. So here is my avatar description. My avatar is a middle-aged, near-retirement individual with a self-directed IRA. My avatar has past experience investing in real estate and or doing private money lending. My avatar likes the idea of passive income earning 12%. Because I can tell you, you might check several of the boxes, but if they are not excited about 12% or they don't like passive income, again, it has to do with the model. You see what I'm saying? Um, all right. And then my avatar understands the fundamental security, protection, and insurance that comes with the private lending process. This comes down to if you're dealing with someone who's never done private money lending, well, then it's your job via pitch deck, which many of you have seen my pitch deck, and you'll have access to that. Through my pitch deck, I educate them. If they don't know, I tell them, okay, this is how you get your security. I talk about and protection. I talk about promissory note and mortgage. And if they don't still understand that, then it is again your job to educate them, right? So that's where the education comes in. So you have to make sure that they understand. All right. And then my avatar has at least obviously 30K available in their self-directed IRA. So this is my avatar. Now, the good news is this avatar works. And that's one of the reasons why you're here, right? So you have a choice. You can use this, and follow exactly what I'm doing, follow all my templates, and it will work. But it gets exciting and it can get better. And that's what I want you to think about. That's why you're smarter people, you're here, is that you can create your own PML avatar, or you can do a hybrid of this. You can use this and just tweak it a little bit to match how you want to operate, and you can create something even more incredible. All right. But as is, it works and you can use that and it will work. All right. Okay, so today I am going to talk about bonus number one. You will have access to this bonus entirely. So what I'm sharing right now is screenshots from the bonus, but you will have access to this. So you're going to learn specific technique on how I find and document my avatar needs and wants. So some of you might be wondering, well, how did I end up learning so much about my avatar? Well, this is the process. I'm going to show you how. Remember, I told you when you learn about avatars, problems, and aspirations and challenges, and especially the pain, then you can incorporate that not only in your pitch deck, but in your messaging. So you will have this bonus PDF in your, I'll show you where it'll be in school in a moment. Okay. So, what is the idea of doing this deep research? So, many of you might know I have grown up kids, and sometimes I mention to them about Facebook, and they kind of make fun of me, and they say, "Dad, no, none of us are on Facebook anymore, right?" But here's the interesting thing: some of you, and I didn't even know that, a growing percentage of Americans ages 60 and older are on Facebook regularly, and not just regularly for all these purposes. They are seeking information, and they're looking for information about financial and investment topics, which is weird, but That's where they're getting their information. So many retirees participate in Facebook groups dedicating to retirement accounts, planning, investment advice. And so, what we are going to do, the purpose of doing this is to reverse engineer ads. And I'm going to talk about that. And I'm sure everybody knows what reverse engineering is, but just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go through this. Reverse engineering is the process of analyzing a finished system to understand its design, structure, and functionality by working backwards to its original form. All right. So we will reverse engineer financial investment ads shown to our to our potential target market on Facebook. So you'll think, where am I going with this? I'll show you. All right. Because I'll tell you why. Because these advertisers have very deep pockets and they've done the hard work for you, right? Because if you and I were to do this, well, you'll have to hire somebody to do the research, find out where these people are, what are the messaging, what works and what doesn't. Well, they've have the money, they've already done that. You just have to tap on it, right? So they've researched, fine-tuned ads, and above all, they've spent money on target audience, which or I call our avatar. We simply have to piggyback on these ads and then look at the comments on these ads. That's what the strategy is. All right. So, how do you do this? By the way, you can do this exact process. The ads that financial investment products and services post targeting retirees on Facebook are goldmine. So that's what we're using. So tap in on the very top left, not within a group, but on the very top left of the Facebook. There's a search bar. You will type in something like this. You can do exactly this, but you can type a combination of this. Retirement advice for retirees, retirement investment help. Remember, put yourself in. Some of you are as old as I am. I'm 60. So that's what I would put in, you know? So you have to put yourself in and say, well, what would they put in there? Well, that's what they're putting in there, right? And then, so what will that give you? Well, it might give you, but that's not the point. I'm telling you, this is how Facebook works. It's what's going to start happening from the another day or two. The next time when you log into Facebook, well, guess what? You'll start seeing ads from companies like what I'm going to show you in a moment. All right. So again, let me clarify, go into more details. Why are we doing this? So we are creating messaging. This research will allow you to create powerful marketing that will connect and resonate with your avatar. What specifically are we looking for? We are looking for comments and stories below the ads. So when you see the ads, you'll see some of the ads are just, I'm not kidding you. I'm talking about, you and I, if I talk to my son or my daughter who are in, my daughter is 16, my son is in his 20s, they will never comment on an ad because it's ridiculous for them to think about, right? But retirees do. They're assuming somebody's sitting there and reading their comments, right? And some advertisers do. They realize that actually that's a gold mine because that's a direct connection with their avatar. So you're reading those comments and stories. Your avatar shares valuable information, which is qualitative data about their experiences and financial anxieties and aspirations. And how can you use this information? Well, understanding and connecting by acknowledging that your avatar experiences financial anxieties and aspirations. You're creating a connection that will open doors for your marketing messages. All right. So this technique will save you lots of time and effort and resources. All right. And before I say anything, I don't want you to think that you're going to be doing this and you're going, oh my God, this is a lot of, not really. You only need to do this once. I only did it once, right? I'm not saying you're going to do this every day. No, you just have to do it once, take some screenshots, and save this and use it as a reference. That's exactly what I did. And I'm going to show you the screenshot. All right, so here's one ad. Very interesting. Okay. I did the same thing, and this kind of ad started showing up in my feed. And I'm like, why? I even forgot because I was doing some other research. But then, see, that's how I learned this, is because I searched for it at some point, I started getting these ads. Now, look at this ad. This is pretty interesting. I don't know if anybody knows about the Phoenix Capital. If you don't, I'm going to tell you. Justin knows. I think he knows. Yeah. But it's interesting. This ad, number one, promotes. Look at the how the ad is. Very big graphic with the return yields, right? But the key factors are number one, they're offering a free event. It's online event. Yeah. So it's an online free event. Number two, this is important. You have to say that. It's an educational event. It's a webinar, is the term that they're using, right? Because if you don't, people assume it's a sales event. Obviously, nobody wants to attend a sales event, right? So you have to be marketing it as a educational event, teaching them about something, which is perfectly good way of giving value first, right? Enticing returns, 9 to 13%. I'm sure everybody will look at that. Well, that sounds great. And then monthly payments. So that is a specific term they're using, which our avatar likes to hear. That's what they're looking for, monthly income. So what is special about this ad? It's simple, it's clear. Note the messaging does not go into the details of the webinar, which means they don't even mention what this investment opportunity is, and they only have key elements that they talk about, right? Okay, so Justin already knows. Anybody wants to guess what this product is? Justin, you know.
Oil and gas.
Yep. Now, there's a reason why they don't say that. And I thought that was interesting. So let's say if you were to advertise something like, and I'm not actually saying that you should be advertising. That's not what this is. We are doing research, but I'm showing you what is working. And this thing, I forgot, I don't even know how many comments were below this ad. The point is that just this piece of information is enough for people to register. That's all they're wanting them to do. It's during the webinar, that's when they disclose what they're actually doing. Does that make sense? Here's another ad. This is a very big company, as you know. And their ad is not just on Facebook, they're all over on LinkedIn as well. Now, this one is a little different if you notice. This is called specific targeting. This is high-end targeting. Look at what they actually we call it filtering, right? They filtered out all the other people that are not even their potential market. So if you have $500,000 plus portfolio, well, guess what? Everybody else who does not have is probably not going to be interested. But guess what? That's what they're interested in, right? So they've right there on top put targeting specific asset class. Number two, they are addressing financial anxiety. So here's the anxiety. Think about it. If you have 500,000, you still are wondering, well, could I retire in 2024? This is an ad from last year, right? That's an anxiety right up in the messaging. And then, of course, they have a very enticing aspirational based imagery. What they are giving is a value. In this case, is a free planning guide. So which means it's a magnet, which means you have to give in their email address and maybe phone number. So it's very targeted, very specific. So this advertiser spends thousands of dollars. This ad not only runs on Facebook, like I said, also on LinkedIn consistently. Remember, if the same ad keeps running, it could suggest that this type of ad is actually producing results, right? I mean, they won't be spending so much money and getting zero results. All right, now let's come to the big part. This is what I was talking about. All right, this is a real message that somebody posted, and I'm not kidding. This was one of the 500 messages. I have tons and tons, and I don't even know how many screenshots I took, but this one was so unique. I'm gonna read this out for you, okay? So this is a lady. She's a 73-year-old lady that responded to one of the ads for a webinar for some investment product. Well, I put money away in 401k with an investment management company back in late 1980s and just let it ride since. It's been losing money, so I moved to low risk strategy. The company gives me a choice, but they move from one investment to another. I don't know anything about stock, CD, annuity. Now I turned 73 and discovered the RMD all of a sudden. RMD is required minimum distribution. All of a sudden now it's all pre-tax. Even though I'm losing money every month, it hasn't been deductible. Any ideas how to proceed? My Facebook feed is plastered with webinars and estate planning. I'm at a C. I'm too old. No, I'm too late for advice on what can I do. I have made so little in Social Security, my only income as I am disabled, that I have never had to pay taxes. I don't even know where to start. Suggestions are welcome, but the discussion is over my head. And it's hard to know who is trustworthy. There must be four different invitation a day. It's overwhelming. Pay this company a percentage annually and it seems steep. Where to start, what to do, I sure could use some guidance. This is real, unfiltered information from your avatar. Just from this one post, you can pick up so many different things. If you're talking to somebody like this, what would you understand? So these are the things that I picked up. Typical example of how retirees are using their investment manager to manage their retirement accounts. So you need to be asking questions. Well, are you paying somebody to do this? Because that will tell you if they think they're earning a certain percentage return. I'm earning 15%, whatever. Well, when you find out how much they're paying that plus the inflation plus whatever, in this case, if they have a self-directed IRA, maybe no taxes. But once you adjust for that, they're not earning that much. In this case, she is losing money and the manager simply moves the fund to low risk. She has no knowledge of the stock market, so she doesn't know what she's doing. Okay, overwhelmed with the information. This is a big concern. So anyway, so what are we looking for? We're looking for patterns. Once you look at enough comments, and I'm not suggesting you do hundreds and thousands of these, you go through one or two feed, take screenshots, especially the ones where you understand what the core problems are, and you'll start seeing the problem. RMD is a really big one, by the way. And I don't want to go into that because it talks about the age, once you hit, I believe it's 70, I forgot if it's 72 or whatever, but once you hit that, you're required by IRS to take withdrawals. You're required, right? And that kicks in a lot of different things. And that's another discussion. And you don't want to go into that also. And even if you know about things, by the way, when I talk to my private money lenders, a lot of them once in a while will ask me a question that is right on the border of legal question or accounts related. Their CPA would know that. So I would try to answer it, but I would very politely guide them to that. So don't try to answer a question that clearly could have a different consequence because you don't know their tax situation. You only know how much money they have in their self-directed IRA if you're working with them. You don't know their whole situation. So I would never advise them on anything that is beyond my skill set, right? So anyway, so you're looking for patterns. And once you read enough comments like these, you'll start seeing patterns in stories, financial anxieties, and aspiration. And that is the basis for your marketing messaging for your avatar. So once you start advertising, those are the words you can use, you know. Okay, so the most important data you're gathering will help you pinpoint the real and actual pain, suffering, needs, and wants of the retirees. Financial advertiser will, believe it or not, will spend millions of dollars to gather such data. All right. So that's the end of that section. Like I said, that's a full PDF document. You'll be able to download that. So go ahead and read that. So I use that as screenshots. Next, I'm talking about positive intelligence. I'm just going to summarize this for you and give you a little homework for this week. So, what is positive intelligence? This is just a summary of the concept that you're going to learn in the book. So, basically, positive intelligence is it shows you how much time do you spend on positive thought in a day, in a time, in an hour, in a minute, even. We all know that our minds run through different scenarios, you know, hundreds and thousands of times a day, right? So it is a measure of how much time you spend on positive thoughts, positive energy, and negative thoughts and negative energy. High PQ means your mind supports your goal and well being. Low PQ means it sabotages your effort and happiness. So we are using the book Positive Intelligence by Shazad Shamin as a guide, and you should, like I said, have everybody should have a copy except Mike. You should have yours soon. So this unique system is based on neuroscience, and it'll give you mental strength that you need. So The formula is I won't go into the formula, but what it is it's here's what I understood from doing this course. The negative thoughts are very strong. Positive thoughts are strong, but negative thoughts are stronger. And we all know how that works, right? You look at the news, there's a reason why when they put up a negative news, it just goes viral quickly, right? And so the idea behind this is the negative thoughts are so strong, they're literally four times more stronger than a positive thought. So the whole idea is you are going to improve your positive thought process, and we'll talk about how you measure that. There's actually a way to measure it, and you'll have a link to do that. So you are going to increase your strength of your positive thoughts so much that your negative thoughts, even with that 4-to-1 ratio, cannot affect your overall effectiveness in your positive outlook. Now it sounds hard, but it's actually doable. It's a daily process, a little bit. You don't have to like go crazy about it. All right. And so simple, you just have to understand that higher PQ leads to better performance. Um, just a little bit more. So there are two parts of this. One is sage and the other is sabotage. So these are, I call them opposing forces. So your sage is your positive part of your brain, um, that sees challenges as opportunities and acts on best interest. Whereas your saboteurs are your negative thought patterns. These includes your judge, your controller, your pleaser. And if you go through that, it's a whole process in there. I'm not going to go into details. But your internal battle is between your sage and your saboteurs. That's what's really happening. Okay, every day you have this fight. You think of a exciting project. You want to do something exciting, and then immediately your judge comes in and say, "Nah, you're not. You don't do it. It's not worth your time, or you're gonna fail." That's your judge. So the one thing that I learned from it is just recognizing that that's happening in your brain right now. All right. So here's what your homework is. This link will be there for you to be able to follow. There's a free test that you can do. This test will show you your current positive intelligent quotient. It's called a PQ score. And what it is, it asks you rapid questions. And instead of thinking about those questions, you just have to answer them as you go along. It's free. And what it'll give you is at the end, it'll give you a score, and you'll realize that your negative thought, you may not know this, where you actually stand. And once you start doing this, you'll start, and if you start applying this, you'll start seeing your score improve. And that's what the idea is. And if you can do that, that would be just great. Okay. So you will have this. I hope you can see this, but you'll have a recording of this later on today as well. Okay. So during the week, you can do this. All right. So here's the summary. This is what we have to do. Join the school community. I know most of you have already joined. You will review the slides, write down your questions, every question that comes to mind, and then on Saturday we'll go through them in detail. Review the bonus report, Facebook Deep Avatar Research, write down your questions, and we'll go through them on Saturday. Take the test for positive intelligence, and if you like, you can share it with all of us. Again, this we're a small community and we're all going to help each other out. That's what the purpose is. And then keep reading your book, Positive Intelligence. And then let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have 10 minutes. I can answer any questions about anything to do with um, access to accounts, school, anything of the nature. By the way, let me introduce again Christine. She's on the call. She's my assistant VA. She is also on school. So if you have any questions, access, or documents that you can't find, not only I'm there, but she'll be available. So she's here right now on the call as well. Say hi, everyone, to Christine. And
Hi, everyone.
okay, and then yeah, any questions about any process or anything that I explained today? No? Okay, so Jason is let me do this right now. Oh, by the way, maybe Christine, you can do this. Can you go into school and see if any membership is pending, so they can have access to it?
Yeah, actually mine should be pending, Amir.
Okay. Yeah, she'll give you access right now. So when you log in, let me actually share that screen with you. You will not have access to everything, not because you won't have access to the program. It's because the folders are incomplete as we are putting in data. So you will only have access to one folder, and I'll show you what that folder is. That's what you're going to have: today's recording, the slides, and the bonus. So I'm going to show you in just a moment. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so when you log in to school, you will see all these folders. You will have access to all of them. I'm repeating that. So don't think that, oh my God, I don't have access to it's not because you won't have access, it's because we have so much data as you're putting them in. I'm still not happy with how they're organized. So we're improving them. And by the way, you don't have to worry about it right now because as I'm going through the curriculum, some of them are not necessary. The one I'm circled, that's the one you have access to. That's where you will have the recordings of all the live recordings, video replays, and the slides, and any resource material. So, like today, you'll have the bonus one in there as well. Does that make sense? And one of the important thing, like I said, is please introduce yourself. That is the most important thing. We all want to know who you are. We all want to see your pictures so we know who that person is. It's a small group, so I have some exciting plans for future. So we need to um, know each other. Okay. Any questions on any of the process or anything to get going? Anything that is you're confused, not clear about? I didn't see the chat, so I want to look at the chat real quick. Oh, hey, DJ, are you? Oh, yeah, DJ's at work, so he was muted. DJ logged in an hour before, and then I saw his email. He said, "Hey, is everything okay?" So I told him, "Yeah, we're supposed to meet at 1 p.m." So I think he's at work, so maybe that's why he got confused with the time. But so no questions. Jason, looks like you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead and ask anyway.
Well, mine is I do have a networking event tonight, but it's with other
Oh,
real estate investors. And guess what the subject is?
private money lending.
Yeah. That's
So
the that's the subject.
it's a local, what is it? Investor club.
It's a local investor group. REI Deal Finders is what it's called. And really the guy who leads it's a pretty popular one, but the guy who leads it he uses it to get money and leads and things like that. Just not outright, but he uses that education to be a local expert. So that's what the subject is tonight, is private money and strategies for that.
I would
So
go and just watch first what the dynamics is. By the way, if you guys haven't watched Jason, Jason's been actually putting a lot of work and effort into making videos. He made some very good videos that he's pitching out, and I like the way he did it. So I made some comments, and we'll in the question answer session we'll talk about it more. Maybe we can share it with everyone because I think you're on the right track. Uh, so that's really good. Steve, if you want to share, that's fine. If you don't want to, I was just wondering how that meeting went with the PML. Okay, yeah, still you're muted.
We moved it till tomorrow. We moved it to tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was, timing issues.
Okay, cool. That's cool. All right, guys.
Yep.
So no questions. Then I'll see you on Saturday. Write down your questions, whatever it is. We'll cover it. But mostly we want to go deep into what we've learned today. But if any other question comes up, we'll definitely address it. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
thank you, Amir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.